on stacking my digits. Burning them bridges, can't be giving my digits up to any of these random ass bitches. No, I get caught in my feelings. Let me talk my shit, cause I changed it up the bitch I was digging.
Television, radio, talk, radio,
got the plug on call.
You have a color like
yeah.
That's what's up, man.
All right, everybody. Good afternoon and welcome to the platform. As always, you know when we get into talking in here, the controversy definitely hits a high. I am your host, Double R410, and welcome to the platform, my guy, Mr. Spence.
Hey.
Always a pleasure of having him around. I love talking to him. So now we ended our conversation. We were just talking about our youth, and as far as the gun violence goes. First of all, let me just say this. We don't have mass shootings in the 5 boroughs. No. But we do have school shootings. Mm-hmm. You don't hear of them as much as you hear of them in other states.
Right.
Especially states that
like
I don't want to say. No, I'm not even going to say Chicago.
That's the city.
Because to me, when you think of mass shooting, most people don't think of a colored child.
Right.
They're thinking of a child of
like Columbine.
Mm-hmm. Right. So let's start there. We have a way to figure out how to in the cities how to solve our problems. They came up with the gun buyback, and during the course of the news, they always said that crime is down. In these other states where these school shootings are happening at a mass rate, they're happening at a mass rate. They usually say that the child has a psychological problem. They usually get away with the shooting because I usually think it's, I want to find my words because I don't want to make the mistake here. Because you elaborated on something that anger management should start at 3 and 4 years old. And I'm saying this, I have to choose my words carefully because right now they're at the point where they're charging parents for the child's crime. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I pause and I'm studying, I'm jumping all over the place, is because I want to make sure I don't defend anybody. We are talking about children. Mm-hmm. And children who go to school have problems. They got bullying, there's reading and writing, there's all kind of things that can push a child over the edge. Mm-hmm. But what bothers me is that the parents who know. When your child has certain things that it goes through, certain criteria, if your child is not normal, and yet you don't report it. Your child goes out and he commits a mass murder shooting. What are we supposed to... Let me rephrase that. How are we supposed to connect these parents with what's going on in these schools? Because they're usually not connected unless their child is a victim. Mm-hmm. If your child happens to be the shooter, they speak less. They don't want to be known. It's embarrassing, which it probably is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there are parents and how they have to live. The after effects of that shooting, knowing that your child pulled the trigger, I don't know how these parents can cope or live with something like that. And like I said, excuse me, I had to put my mind together, get my train of thought. I was doing a lot of things. And just that recent shooting in Georgia made me turn and elaborate. But I think I like what you were talking about when you said anger management, if we can start them at 3 years old. But what if they're not taught that at home? And I think that's where the problem is. Because, we put a lot of emphasis on our teachers, our police officers, our lawyers, to straighten out these children. Mm-hmm. They figured if these children got a problem, call us, let us help you out, let us figure it out, let us do what we can to make sure that these children never have the opportunity to hurt nobody again. But what if they do? And the only thing you want to do is medicate a child. Half the time the child gets the gun from home.
Or from someone they know.
Or someone they know. Mm-hmm. So the person who passed the gun and knows that you passed the child the problem with the gun, you're just as responsible as the child. Am I correct? Yes. That's the problem where we have to solve. I think that's where we go wrong at, and I think a lot of people don't want to accept that fact of, oh, you know what, this might be our problem too. Yeah, if a child is using the gun around you and you know he's using the gun, yes, it kind of, you know, and I'm agreeing with arresting the parent, but what if the parent is just as disturbed as the child?
What do you mean by disturbed, though? Like,
how many parents do you? Well, I don't know too many, but as growing up as a kid, you know, people who own guns very use lock boxes. You usually put it up the top of the closet in a shoebox or things like that. So eventually, sooner or later, your child know where the gun is, and most people teach their children how to shoot.
yeah,
Most people who own weapons teach their children. So, like I said, is it more the parent being mental of teaching the child at that young age? Now, let's remind everybody, they are defending themselves. They are taught to defend yourself.
right.
This is what happened in certain part of the United States. You got certain kids who live with violence every day.
Yep.
So we're in New York City. We already got, like I said, we got the gun buyback, but our violence seems to escalate. Let's start with our own borough first. Let's start with the Bronx and the escalation of violence with guns that'll go on. Where do you think most of these children at this age for the Bronx get the guns from?
The street. Because I've been to practically every single gun buyback that, you know, am I allowed to say where I work, or?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, okay. So, well, I've been to quite a few gun buybacks, and what I've seen was basically folks from upstate, families would bring their an old rifle that was been sitting in the closet. Some of them live here in the borough too. But these are not folks these are not street people. These are folks that are just pretty much working class homeowners that have firearms. Because you got to remember, there's no questions asked when it comes to, you just turn in a weapon and then you get that card, the cash card. But that's what I saw. I saw a lot of that. I didn't see and I've heard when I used to actually promote it, and I used to go to different neighborhoods. What's that area over there? 233rd, Wakefield. I've heard.
Oh my God!
I've heard dudes told me on the street, "Yo, I'm not giving up my gun. I need that. You know what goes out? Excuse my language, but they said, you know what kind of type of shit that goes on out of here? I need my gun."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, all right." I'm just saying, this is a gun buyback that's happening at this place. So here you go. I'll leave that here for you. But yeah, so that tells you that these dudes that's running around, these young dudes on scooters and with the masks and everything, they're not giving up their and that's where these kids get their guns from. And then when I grew up in this borough, I know dudes that had pistols on them. I was hanging out with guys when I was a teenager that had guns on them, and I knew where they got them from. They got it from the other dude that lived in that building over there, or that building over there.
So easy. See, and that's to tell you that's why I was telling people the difference. See, an inner city kid will buy a gun from anybody.
Yeah.
You know, they don't care if he got prints on it or anything like that. But a child who lives upstate is usually their parents' gun. So now, as much guns as we have in the inner city, we don't have a lot of school shootings, but we have a lot of street shootings.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, a kid who lives in the urban area, he lives in what they call it, the outskirts of the city.
Yeah. Oh, the suburbs.
Yeah, he's usually doing school mass shootings with his parents' gun. So I'm asking everybody, where's the balance? Because you see you answered it very well too, and I commend you, because
Thanks.
we're backwards on this. You're having a gun buyback maybe in the wrong part of the state.
Right. Well, here's the thing, though. These gun buybacks happen within these,
in the middle of
these impoverished communities. Yeah.
So you're asking the person. See, this is
from that neighborhood
to give in their
to turn in your firearm
while you're looking, while everybody's looking.
Yeah.
But if you move that gun buy back, let's say you take it upstate.
Oh.
You provide them with a bus to get on, and they can take. I guarantee you, more of the inner city kids will go up there and turn their guns in.
Yeah, because
no
one knows them over there. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And I try to tell people that might be the problem. You can't get a child's face to hand over a gun to a police officer.
And here's the thing too: you got to also include this factor. There's not a lot of trust between the police and the community.
Of course.
So, because there was another thing that I always heard, like, yo, this is a setup. So you bring your firearm, they're gonna arrest you. They're cops. They're all cops. They all think the same. Just, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's pretty much the mindset. So now you got to gain the trust, and there is no trust. To tell you the truth, I said little trust. I think there's zero trust. And then then you got, when it comes to that population, the young population, the dudes in the street, and whoever's doing their dirt. Yeah, you're right. They would. So, and then and that's the thing. Even if you set it up upstate, they're gonna be like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Because now you got to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just telling you that
the
reason why the gun buy back don't work.
No.
And I tell people that. They like, yo, why you keep saying? Because you can't get an inner city kid to stay in his same neighborhood and have his, as they call them, ops.
Yeah.
His enemies, whatever.
Yeah.
Watch him turn in that gun.
We have gang activity.
All over.
You know what I'm saying?
All over.
Yeah, if I'm running with the Crips and I see Bloods and I ain't got my gun, but they got theirs, then I'm in a situation.
If the gun buybacks were so successful, why are we arresting gangs for gun violence? Why are we having shootings?
Because we're going about it the wrong way, man.
Oh, man.
We're going about it the wrong way. I've seen it from day one.
It's not going to. I told people that. It's not going to work.
It's like, how do you stop people from doing drugs?
Right.
Right?
Right.
There's no way you can stop someone who's addicted to a substance to pretty much
to
walk away from it, right?
Yes.
So
they supplement a drug to get rid of another drug.
Exactly. So you got to catch that person at the beginning, at the root, at yay high, 5 years old. You're learning how to speak. You're learning how to communicate, and that's one of the messages you communicate. Never start. Because how do you stop drugs? By never starting.
That's funny because the inner city kid at 5 or 6 years old learned to use a gun with his peers if he's running the street.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know it's kind of young, but hell, I was outside in the street at 6, 7, 8, 9. So
I was sheltered until I went to high school. Then
so you were in the street, but not as deep as you would have.
Well, when I was going to middle school, going back, because I didn't live in the hood. I lived in the house I'm in now that I grew up in,
right.
Olmsted Avenue. That's a private residential community right next to Castle Hill Projects, and then you got Soundview going down the other way. Once I started taking the train to school, because I went to Samuel Gompers, in the South Bronx. I have made friends with people in the South Bronx and all over. So I cut school. Freshman year, I was on the 6 train all the time, going to the city, smoking cigarettes on the train and stuff.
I wish I could have cut school when I was. My parents weren't playing that, and they made sure I went to a school where they locked the doors behind me.
Oh, nah.
So when you elementary school, and then when you got the Hayes, at that time Hayes didn't allow you to leave anyway. They had their lunch all in there, so you was like not like a big baby, but you were locked into school.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't stop other people from getting into schools or things from happening.
Right.
People thought because we went to a Catholic school that we was always these goody kids.
Yeah.
Not realizing the neighborhoods that we come from. Not realizing that every child who lives in these neighborhoods and who lives in the city, we all were dressing nice. Our parents made good money, but you still had to you still had to come home and step over. You still had to step over the drug dealers and the the winos in the gutter. Winos. I haven't heard that word, wino.
That goes back to the
70s. I don't want to use the word alcoholic because it sounds too harsh, but I guess you can say winos. But getting back to this whole situation about the kid who did the mass shooting in Georgia in the school, they kept it quiet. They kept it really quiet.
Was he's white, right?
Yeah, he's white. Yeah. They kept it really quiet. They didn't really want people to know the aspect of it. But these are the results of the buyback, because I tell people he didn't get that gun off an inner city street.
Nah.
It was one of his parents' guns.
Yeah.
These children up in these urban areas have more access to a gun than any city street kid could. They live with it 24/7. They know it. They shoot it. They go out in the woods. They practice. They do anything.
Yeah.
And so now when they get angry, they get bullied at school, or they do it.
They're gonna come back to school.
They're gonna come back to school. And the sad part about it is, the parent first thing is, I didn't know he had the gun.
Oh, they know.
You had to check to see if it was missing, unless you don't check your gun every day.
Now, yeah, the parents could be.
And how does yeah, I'm sorry.
That sounds like irresponsibility to me.
Yeah.
You know, because something like that serious in the house. But you got to remember, too, in other states, especially going out west or south, the culture is different.
It is different.
You know?
You're known to pull the trigger in the woods.
Yeah. Yeah.
I grew up with a southern father. Listen, the first thing that I learned when I used to go down south and visit, I learned how to hunt. That's playtime for a southern boy. That's playtime.
Yeah. I used to visit my grandmother in Augusta.
Yeah.
So life
That's
was
playtime.
different. Yeah. Things were different.
We ain't go to the park and play no basketball in the South, or not in South Carolina. Not in Low Country. We was out there. You was either hunting turkey, bear, depending on the season. You learn how to shoot. Learn how to shoot from the shoulder. How to stand. How to hold your gun. How to make sure not to get your hands caught up in the pullback. You know, you learn everything from a 38 to a 9mm to a 22 rifle to I wouldn't say sort of, but a 30-30 gauge. A lot of people don't know what a 30-30 is. Beautiful rifle, but the kickback is tremendous. So these kids already know.
Is it 30? Is that a double barrel?
Some of them come double. Man, let me think.
Did you put
the
two shells?
we have the 30-30 we have is old, so it's a loader. It's a loader, but it's two triggers.
Yeah.
Yes. So now I think the 30-30s that they make now, more of a single shot. You get to load, I think maybe 5, 6. I'm not sure. I got to look up what a 30-30 is. I'm not sure, but I know that coming up, these are the things in the South. These are the things that I've endured. You know, I didn't never play with guns up here in the city, although I ran the streets like a motherfucker up here. Excuse the language, but I've never really picked up a gun in the inner city. It was always out in the urban area. Wow. And I was learning how to you're hunting, but I knew where the gun was. They didn't have lock. It wasn't no lockbox. Most of the time, the hunt rifle sat on top of the mantle. Your guns was usually in the little gun case, top of the closet. Yeah. You know, these are the things that happen, and you know you don't have as much crime when everybody has access to a gun.
Yeah, because I mean the community is aware that,
especially if you're crazy.
Yo, I mean look at Dallas. You know, and these dudes open carry. You know, do you ever seen the movie Hell and High Water, something like that?
Clint Eastwood?
No, it came out a couple of years ago. It's Christopher Pine. He's an actor. He's been in a lot of films. But
I've heard of it. Heard of it. Hell of High Water.
Well, it was these two brothers that were robbing banks in Texas, and they robbed this bank. And when the guy put the gun behind the dude, he says, "Yo, don't move. Take everything out of this was a customer, but he was telling the lady over the counter, take everything out of the register. And he asked the dude, "Are you carrying?" He goes, "You know I'm carrying. This is Texas." He was like, "Okay." So then he took his gun out. He put it on the thing. But then when they took the cash, they ran. Once they ran out the door, he grabbed his gun, ran after them, and started firing at them. Like it was a customer. And then another customer pulled up, and he had people in the truck. They got out. They started firing them. I was just like, wow. So people are aware that everyone's carrying. So why would you try something dumb like that? I was saying that about this city. I was just like, I think we're at a point where I think we all have to be strapped, because you don't know when one of these kids are gonna try to. Because that's what you hear on the news all the time. It's like people getting robbed of their phones or whatever, their property, violently.
Could you shoot somebody?
If I have to, not to kill, but if I have to, if I'm gonna have to,
if you put a bullet into somebody, what's the sense of and I hate to say that, but what's the sense of shooting somebody if you're not, because the possibility of revenge is in the air.
Absolutely. I get that, but at the same time, because there are laws, and that's going to be the question: did you meant to kill this person, or you were protecting yourself and self? That was self-defense totally. Like this person had a gun behind the back of your head. You guys scuffled. You're fighting with this person. This person drops a weapon, but he's going to pick it up.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, but right, you're right. If you're gonna shoot to kill, because these dudes in the street will see your face and be like, "Yeah, that's the dude that shot."
That's the dude that shot me.
Yeah.
But I explained this like.
That's like being stuck between a rock and a hard place.
A rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
So how do you expect these kids who go through that, or these inner city kids who be with somebody who's not afraid to let off, as they call it? Mm-hmm. How you expect them to get these guns up, man?
They're not.
These kids go to sleep with their guns now.
Exactly. Like what Lil Wayne said, I sleep with the gun.
You know what I mean? So what are we doing? So are we giving away free money to get a gun nobody's going to use? Like, oh, come on, you can look at the guns and tell you, like, this is not the gun that's being taken off the street.
Exactly.
The old man rifle.
Now, at some of these gun buybacks, I did see some Glocks, some guns that you could tell that.
Or did they come from inner city kids?
That's the question.
Right.
That's the question. Like, because I'm just like, there are folks upstate with Glocks, but and then you got military people. You got families that have military folks that they
pass away.
They'll just that passed away, and they'll bring their guns. They'll bring their guns. Their old weapons to be, we don't need this, and then, I could get a quick $200, $400 for this gun,
Oh my God.
But the remedy to this problem, though, when it comes to this violence, this senseless violence, it has to start from the beginning, because we're all human beings. We're not born angry. We're not born violent. We learn these behaviors. You know what I'm saying? And the power of influence is tremendous now, because we have social media. And these kids are just connected to social media. They've even admitted, there was I think it was a census that was like how many kids are distracted by their phones in school. And a lot of them came forward and said, yeah, I am. I'm on my phone all the time. TikTok, Instagram, and so pretty much, they are influenced by positive influencers, and then you have negative influencers. You have, there are influences out there. Gangs, they recruit using social media, and they see the power. They see the influence. They feel powerful with that. They got their boys behind them. You got the iron. You got the grip. You're good. No one's gonna try to stop you. No one's gonna mess with you.
You're not wrong. Definitely not. You're not wrong. But it still doesn't give us a solution of our inner city.
I think that what police need to do, law enforcement, because every time, and I think we all know this, every time there's a mass shooting, right? You got the legislation or legislators in Washington are saying,
coming out,
hey, we need tougher legislation on gun control. We need to stop the NRA and all this other stuff, right? And they've never been successful at that.
Well, it's not a problem until it hits their area.
Exactly.
So, inner city kids shooting each other.
Oh, that's nothing.
That's nothing
that's
to
normal.
no one.
It's normal. It's considered normal. And I remember there were community residents, community folks that were saying, this is not the norm. This should be the norm in my neighborhood.
I said that too. I said that as a inner city kid growing up, it was normal.
This shit doesn't
to
happen.
Step over bodies and things. It was normal coming up. It was normal.
This shit didn't happen in This doesn't happen in Portchester
Yeah.
or Rye, New York, or way up there in the suburbs in Nyack.
They have shootings, but not like this.
Oh, in the urban section of
Right.
like Yonkers.
Right.
But if you go to Scarsdale,
Right.
we're not going to see that. Scarsdale, those houses and everything, private residential, Pelham. Over there by, it's like so, but it's but here, it's normal.
I was thinking of when I was a kid and we first rode up to Newburgh, and I thought Newburgh was this most beautiful. It was a beautiful town. At one point, it is. They still had the cobble roads.
Mm-hmm.
You ride down. I thought it was beautiful until one day I was staying at a friend's house and I heard the violence.
MS-13 be running Newburgh.
Oh man, that to the point where the cops are all over the place. They running through all over the place. But who are you trying to catch? Because these people were letting off. I mean, these people were letting off some nasty shit up there.
Mm-hmm.
So you would think that, yo, this doesn't happen now. It does, man.
But I'm talking about like wealthy neighborhoods. You can, like, you ever
So the back of Pelham Parkway.
The back of Pelham Parkway. You got
Haviland Avenue.
You got East Tremont.
Yeah.
Towards the
Throgs Neck?
Throgs Neck area. Hollywood Boulevard. I mean, I think that's Hollywood Avenue. I'm sorry.
Where Hollywood Avenue?
That's over there by it's East Tremont and Hollywood Avenue. Is like there's a TD Bank there, but it's like it's in the direction of Throgs Neck. I went to that school, middle school, and
that's before you get to Lehman or after?
That's after you get
way
to
past Lehman.
Way past Lehman.
Before you get to Lafayette.
Yeah, Lehman is the hood. Because I remember when I was a kid, I got jumped by a bunch of Italians.
You know Lehman is the hood, but you know that is the beginning of the rich area.
It's the beginning. Well, now it's different, man. It's Westchester Square. That's all.
I think it got better.
Westchester Square.
Yeah, I think it got better.
You got a lot of
Because remember, when you
yeah, but that school is a bad school.
It's always been a bad school.
That's the 4-5, man. They
that
have
school
like
always been a bad school.
I remember one time I did a job fair in there, and it was already an incident in there. A kid brought a weapon in the school, and the police arrived, and all kinds of stuff. But it's a lot of gang fights there now.
But anything past that school, that's you're beginning to tie your neighborhood now.
Yep. That's what I said.
Especially straight up Tremont.
Yep.
Going towards the Marina Del Rey, you are like,
yeah, that's all white.
That's all white.
Yeah, that's all white, and they know. They
Of
know.
course
They see
know.
you, and they're like,
of course.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that they'll pop one in your ass too.
yep.
You understand? And where you think they get them guns from? They parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
you ever seen a gun buyback in their neighborhood?
Nah.
You see what I'm trying to tell you?
Nah.
You don't have gun buybacks in those type of neighborhoods. They just believe that if you come in a neighborhood like this,
like
they're just going to automatically just give up. Yeah, like what? The type of leadership that requires for you to take a gun off the street has to be phenomenal.
True. But it has to happen on two ends. You have the police doing their job in terms of stopping the illegal trafficking of these weapons into our state, right? That's where the investigation has to happen. Where are they coming from, and how do we stop it?
Before we get to investigation, you don't think we need to? This is why I agree with them charging the parent, because your parent at some point loses control of you.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, the state takes over and tells your parent, you are no longer in charge of your child.
Yep.
We're taking your child. This is it. You can't do anything about it. And I think that's where the state goes wrong. When they made up ACS and BCW, that's when things went wrong. That's when a lot of our minorities got lost.
Oh, because if you get caught beating your kids,
Yeah.
you
can't discipline them.
Can't
you can't even talk to your kid the wrong way. And somebody said, "Don't make me have to call BCW." And I thought that was one of the most childish things in the world. Now, with all that going on, did you have men and women who were excessive on their children? Of course.
Mm-hmm. That was when the neighborhood beat your ass if you did something wrong.
Yeah.
They go tell your parents.
So my whole thing is, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we making this an issue on a gun buyback that we know doesn't work?
Because it's a Band-Aid on a gash. You know, you need stitches. You need something to. You need something that's going to stop it from the root. You got to stop it from the root.
Right.
If you keep pulling a weed from the top, it's going to grow back again. But if you just take out the root of that weed, it's gone. That's it. It's not growing anymore. And that has to do with teaching. It has to do with parenting. It has to do with guidance at an early age. This is and you got to really be dedicated to it. Like, what's the inappropriate behavior? Then you describe the appropriate behavior, and then you have that kid.
I don't think these kids want to learn. I don't think these kids care.
No, they don't. That's what I mean. But now, when it comes to intervention, that's the ones that's already doing the dirt. Those are the ones that don't care. You need a strong strategy, a really sturdy strategy on how to basically deal with that. But prevention, kids are open to learn at a certain age. I
believe at this point that street mentality influences children more than a parent could.
Yep. Yeah. Because there's a certain
the credibility you get out there is not the same credibility you get inside. Inside, you mama's son. Mm-hmm. But out there, you might be T-Rex Jones,
And you know when that happens? Between 9 and 11.
When the dad is gone.
That's the time when a child breaks away from the family circle and enters the other circles, the social circles at school.
Right.
So whatever they are, whatever that circle is, you need to, as a parent, you need to be aware of it, because if not, that kid's going to get information that could actually hurt him or her.
Wow, man.
Because you have kids teaching kids. Oh, but my friend said, what are you talking about? Your friend is the same age.
Open that for a minute. Somebody knocking on the door? No? Oh, sorry.
So,
no, you're right.
It all goes to teaching. It's funny. When I worked at Boys Town, and I learned I was trained in the 21st century model. It opened my eyes to a lot of things, because I was working with kids these were kids that
really
were incarcerated.
Trouble. Yeah, they were really trouble. Yeah.
When I tell a kid, you need to express your feelings this way, and the kid's like, go fuck yourself. And so it's just like, so this is what I had to deal with.
Did that make you want to put your hands on the child?
Nah, I mean, because I was at the time I was trained.
I'd have whooped his ass.
I did felt disrespected, but at the same time, I was just like, you got to remember where that kid is coming from. So that you're not going to expect that kid you're not going to expect the right response from that kid. So that kid's going to react.
So you think that these kids who are wilding out, drugging, shooting, and doing all this, they deserve jail time?
Deserve jail time.
It could be an act of aggression.
It depends, because you got to remember too, once you reach a certain age, you do understand the difference between right and wrong.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And if you don't, if there are no consequences, then these kids are going to continuously do things that they're not supposed to. So there are consequences there. Unfortunately, though, when they get locked up, they go into a system that doesn't rehabilitate them. It just basically teaches them how to be incarcerated and how to survive.
How to survive, yeah.
That's true. Boys Town wasn't like that. It was a non-secure detention. It was the only behavior modification facility in New York State, period, in Brooklyn.
Is it still around?
No, they lost their license. They had too many AWOLs. But that facility been around they still have their foster care, and they work with ACS now, and also Bronx Family, not Bronx Family Court. What's the?
We're in trouble.
What's that? What's the name of the? It's in the same building. They're right across from us. It's on the 3rd floor.
Where, here?
Yeah.
Not corporate counsel. Family court?
Corporate counsel. That's
corporate counsel.
Corporate counsel. Mm. They're the ones that actually Boys Town works with them, and they come up with strategies and lesson plans for families. So they go into the home and work with the parents and the child that's having a problem now. Yeah.
90%. I'm just gonna say, and I'm gonna throw a number out here. I feel that 90% of the children who commit violent crimes need love at home.
Yep.
They just need love at home. They're just not used to not having, I guess they missed it, or the fact of lack thereof can make a man's rage or a woman's rage go to that point where she joins somewhere else. She thinks she love, and they got you out here hustling, busting, and selling guns, man.
Mm-hmm. They're coming from toxic environments into another toxic environment, you know?
They should do that here. These kids who shoot these kids, they should bring their parents and make their parents. And they know who it is. Because they got cameras all over the city now.
And you got parents that know. Yeah, parents know what their kids are doing.
Yeah, parents know everything.
You know?
They ain't going to say nothing, though. There's no parent going to tell on another child. Tell on their own child.
Nah.
Unless it's severe. I'm sorry.
No worries.
That's my missus. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Babe, let me call you back, okay? All right. Thank you. Yeah, so right now with all the shit happening with the mayor, all the guns control buybacks not working, all these regiments for these children are seeming to fold by hand. They're folding. So I wanted to ask, I'm going to end it by asking you this. They finally made an arrest in the mayor's situation. Really, that arrest doesn't bother me. You know what bothers me? That all the work that he put in for the youth, all the things that he implemented in the youth, could that be all swept away? Because, you know, as much as I have to say, as much trouble the youth have gotten into lately, they have been able to open up a lot of new schools for young kindergartners and young preschoolers. Now, both our school chancellors have resigned. Back to back, they're gone. Why would a school chancellor have to leave unless it's all kind of bribery or something going on under the table?
Yeah.
What are we teaching our youth? Because it sooner or later, the 5 boroughs is going to end up with a mass shooting. In school.
Yeah.
In school, because everything is leading up to the signs of what's happening. Because these things happen, like I said, they happen in the urban area. And look what leads up to it. Bullying, teasing, town hall meetings, all kind of shit. We're going through the same shit right now.
Yeah. What a time to have concept.
You know what I mean?
Which that program that I wrote, and it's gone.
It's gone.
I was in them schools 4 days a week.
It's gone.
In different schools. After schools, I used to go to parent-teachers night and talk to parents about violence, about know what your kids are doing, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, for that to be ripped away, and then these schools was like calling, like, hey, what happened to that program? Oh, well, it doesn't exist anymore.
Doesn't exist.
You know, and now that these kids see the mayor, they see all of these things happening, you know, folks looked up to them. I did. When I would see politicians when I was a kid, I'd be like, oh, they must be big people. They must be very responsible. You know, they care.
And now you look at it.
Yeah, and it's just like, wow. They turn out to be liars.
I'm telling you that.
Well, that's
right
the picture of it, though. That's the picture.
No,
of
they listen. You call a spade unless it's another color. And right now, what we're looking at is our leaders by default. Our leaders are leaders by default. Go ahead.
That's why I was telling weeks ago, and I was talking about Diddy. I was talking about like folks like
you don't have to whisper.
Cat Williams.
This is a platform. Go ahead.
Cat Williams and all this friction, like, you know, all this stuff that's happening in the entertainment world, and it's all black people. It's all black people going up against each other.
I said that to somebody.
And our young brothers and sisters are
they're
looking
watching
at that like
they're doing everything in their power to destroy the image of every minority who has made a difference in his community.
Right. But yet you got a white man that commits a federal crime, says whatever he wants.
It doesn't go
disrespects
to jail.
Women. He disrespects race.
Down on the Capitol, they ran up on the Capitol.
They made a statue of this man.
Come on.
But yet you go all the way back to all these black entertainers and everything. Even go back to history. Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King.
But is that our fault as a people to know that the amount of money we get, we are not going to be able to keep it? We're not. I've never. Have you ever heard of anybody who's black, successful and black, and kept their money? And I mean all of it. I mean, listen, they might not have took of all of Bill Cosby money, but I'm pretty sure they took a chunk of that motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Excuse my language.
They what they did to Red Fox.
It was even worse.
I mean, I get it. He didn't pay his taxes, but they took everything.
Listen, there were certain people, I don't want to name names. There's certain Caucasian writers. Hell, one was Jerry Lee Lewis. One was Elvis Presley. They slept with for help, their own cousins, underage, and got away with it.
Woody Allen. That's his stepdaughter, isn't it?
The girl, the
woman that he's with?
girl, yes. That was his stepdaughter. Then she became his wife.
I saw them with. I don't remember it was a Knick game, and they were sitting together, and I was just like,
And he's old as hell.
Yeah.
What, he gotta be 90?
You know the father of this guy, Elon Musk?
No.
The father of Elon Musk had 2 kids from his stepdaughter.
Lord.
Despite his
Lord
ex-wife.
Then they wonder why these children are all messed up. The bloodline is being crossed too much. The cousins sleeping with the cousins and the this and that. It's too much going on.
Yeah, man.
But I do know this: if they do not change, I'm gonna come up with a solution other than the buyback. Because that's just to get back to it. I know we were talking about, but just to elaborate so we can close out. That's the problem that we're having. Everybody's not respecting the buybacks, the gun buyback, and
that doesn't work.
You putting that in the inner city and asking the inner city kid to bring that ain't gonna work because he's being seen giving it up.
Doesn't work. What works is pretty much, in my opinion, is basically teaching. Like find opportunities to teach and give these kids effective praise at a young age. Praise them for the good behaviors and have them identify the negative ones. And differentiate between that and good, and say, hey, and fully think it out. These kids don't process things. They don't look at.
I don't think they want to,
but they don't want to, but they should, because that's what we do as adults.
This generation right now does what our generation couldn't: make money on a daily.
Well, yeah, because they have the technology for it.
It doesn't matter how
technology exists.
They do it.
Yeah,
and our bosses are getting younger and younger.
But the technology makes it easier, because I know when I was a kid, I was shoveling people's walkways. I was cutting people's grass.
Our generation doesn't count anymore. I'm just being. Somebody told me our generation doesn't count anymore. We lived our life. It's what this next generation does with this country. Yeah. It's going to determine how long this country gets to stand for the next 50 to 100 years.
Oh, I don't think we're gonna last 100 years. I don't even think it's gonna be 50. I'm willing to bet on that. I'm willing to bet on that. I'm not wishing
I know what you're saying.
Anything, but
something's going to come down.
Our government, the people that are up there, these politicians, Republicans, the way they're going at the Democrats, it looks like street people arguing with each other, and they're so disrespectful.
Civil war with no weapons.
Poor taste. The other countries are laughing at us. They're like, wow, there is so much chaos and disorganization. And when that happens at top, what do you think is going to happen at the bottom? And it's happening right now. We see it on the streets.
It's been happening. You're right.
You got gangs in Chicago fighting against Venezuelan gangs.
That's right.
Where do these Venezuelan people come from?
Taking over. Down on 14th Street, robbing people.
Times Square. Shootings in Times Square?
Yes.
Central Park. Women are getting raped.
But why do you think see, and I told people, when we lost so much people in 9/11, we couldn't replace it. So you have to let these people in to get Social Security numbers. So if you let in 10,000
I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, I'm telling you this, Cave. You got 10,000 people that are migrants. At least 2,000 of them are going to commit crimes. It's easier here than it is over there. Over there, you steal or you rob or something, they might chop your hand off. Over here, they give you time. Motherfucker do 10 years to come out and rob again.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't even do time.
We lost to the world and we lost in a system that is not designed for us. And I don't necessarily mean the black man. I'm just saying that it's not designed for us.
No.
We are never going to get anywhere without trying to do something different. And we can't. We all step into the same pattern. We all do. If a person shoots a person on this block, 2 blocks over, somebody else got shot. And to the point now they have a shootout in front of the schools. And what are we going to do if a child gets hit?
Yeah.
And I want to say this because there's no disrespect to Hawk Newsom, but the same way you protest on them police when they shooting or they do this, why you don't protest on our own to press on in front of that parent's door to tell your son to stop shooting? We're shooting each other.
Yeah.
How much does Black Lives Matter when we're shooting each other and you're not even starting a rally to say, hey, let's stop killing each other? You're so fixated on protecting the innocent against the police that you want to prove them wrong. Meanwhile, we being wrong all day.
And you know how long this has been happening?
Yes. And like I said, he's a good friend of mine. But he has also changed. You know, and it's to the point where we're looking for a way out. There might not be no way out. We might have just did a 360 because we ran to go around, the seat was over there, came back around and ran into our ass again. 360. We right back where we started from in the 70s.
Yep. We are.
Except the guns are more powerful and the people are more ignorant.
And there are more gangs, and the gangs are younger.
Come on, man.
The gangs are younger. No code. They'll kill anybody. Any age. Come on, man. That man, what was he? I think it was in Queens, driving home.
And he got innocently shot.
And he got shot in the head?
Yes.
By accident? Because the government was trying to shoot.
And they all watched it. They all watched it and rode off on their bikes as if nothing happened. Yeah. That's the point I'm trying to make. That we are living in a world that's so judgmental that we're willing to judge anything that makes an easy conviction. It's easy to say inner kitty kids are shooting each other, kill each other, but you won't go say, okay, well they got the gun from here to here, there, and there. But the moment that kid up there gets that, he's like, oh no, he was going through a problem. He had a mental. What mental? He wanted to be part of the hood. That's not mental. Accidents that are things that happen to little kids. When you're grown and someone's trying to teach you something, that shit, man, you already know. We gotta do different. That's school. After all of this, look how many shootings happened after Columbine. When are we gonna get it right? The blind leading the blind, and right now nobody can see. Nobody can see. Everybody wants a piece of what's gonna make money, but nobody's paying attention on what the pieces may be to get the money.
It could be like what was said in the scriptures in the New Testament in the book of Timothy. I think it's first letter of Timothy or second, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember that during the ending times, the latter days in Christianity, that good will be considered bad and bad will be considered good. It's in reverse, and kids will rebel against their parents. There are kids that will kill their own parents.
And it's happening.
And yeah. So, I mean...
And you're big on, we say the same thing. You just use it. You just come from a biblical term.
Yeah.
And that's why I like doing shows with you, because you come from me, I'm up real personal. Like, yo, it's not working. This shit is not working.
No,
it's not working.
It's not.
It's not working.
That's what you get when you put God on the shelf.
Come on now.
If you think the Bible is another Harry Potter book.
You know what I'm saying?
And when that happens, God's like, all right.
You'll
see.
And I tell people, you do these buybacks, but when these kids get killed on the inner corner, y'all don't even show up.
No.
We don't even show up.
17, 15.
Yeah, you're not even showing up.
Younger than
you're
that.
not showing up.
I think the worst I ever saw was a kid 10 years old, Pop. No, I'm sorry. He was 12. He got shot in the head and the stomach. He was a gang member. As soon as he came out not too far from me. Came out of his building, and he was online, throwing up gang signs, saying he's a Crip, telling everybody he's a Crip. Then finally, when he walked outside, I think it's the group of Bloods, they saw him, they knew who he was, they popped him in his head and shot him in his stomach. He died right there in front of his building. His grandfather found him.
And they probably videotaped it too.
Probably, yeah, to send a warning to whoever, man. Or it's sad. It makes you just angry, I'm
angry, but I don't know if I'm angry at myself for just learning how to pick up a mic and express myself, or am I angry because I once was one of them wild ass kids in the street?
I mean, but you changed yourself around, man. I don't know.
Only because I don't have felonies.
Okay.
I've been arrested, fighting and for fighting. I've always been arrested for fighting as a kid. Always. Never stabbing. Always fighting with my bare hands. But what if I was a person who loved guns? And I got arrested that many times and probably would have had a gun on me at any other time getting arrested. Mm-hmm. I would have been in the felony. See, that's the difference. That's the difference that I'm trying to explain to people. That's the difference. And when you leave your gun in the car or you leave your gun upstairs and you say, yo, I'll be back, that's premeditated.
What made you change?
What? From in the streets?
Yeah. What?
Somebody died. Somebody I knew who meant a lot to me passed away. Nobody ever asked me that. And one day, I to me, in my process of life, I was on top of my game. Mm-hmm. I didn't fall from grace. God didn't give me any bad thing. It was somebody who died who wasn't really even connected to me. Mm-hmm. He just happened to be somebody that was innocent in the middle of two groups going wrong, and I happened to be a part of one of them groups. Right. Now, I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't really... The person who pulled the trigger at the time, I wasn't there on the scene when the fight occurred, but I knew the pressure that it was building up from fighting groups of fighting for the last 2 years and things like that. A good friend of mine, when he was in the situation and he got shot and came back to get, and this so happened that day I couldn't go back. That just one particular day, my mother was really riding me about doing something, going somewhere. And 3 days later, I haven't heard from anybody. The crew was scattered, and it came back that this person got killed. He shot this person. Like I said, I didn't know the person personally, but I knew who the person was. We would see each other, even though you were on the other side. We were cordial enemies, if that's what a person could say. Mm-hmm. We were cordial enemies. But I changed because I realized that he was innocent, because he was part of the team, but not the team that was out in the streets robbing, stealing the guns. He was just part of the music team. And every team has a street team. He just was innocent because he wore a shirt. Mm-hmm. And I felt like, that's enough. Because by the grace of God, there goes I. Or that could have easily been one of my children laying in the gun. That's my biggest fear right now after walking away. Because God don't let you just walk away without a price to pay. And I'm thinking, if my price to pay of being in the street and doing other people wrong, somebody one day is going to do my family wrong. Now, I don't mean wrong by robbing and stealing, because I'm not a robber, I never stole. But I never cooperated with anybody to do anything. Yeah. There's enough to make you an enemy. Mm-hmm. Because just because you're not going to participate, you're not going to, so I pick and chose my moments of being who I am and what I wanted to do. But it was just this one particular death that really shook me. It shook me because if you're a person walking down the street and somebody shoots you because you wear a T-shirt and kill you dead, they killed them, who am I?
Right.
And I'm the person who's six amongst them when I was young, smoking and doing all that. That could have easily been me. And he was just out hanging with them. Wrong place at the wrong time. And I said, you know what? That's enough. I walked away and I never looked back. And there's some days that I run into certain people I would never tell that story with names to it, but there's sometimes I run into people who were in that era, who came from that time frame, and it's good to see them. But they always said to me, they always say, "You were smart. You were smart because you could still use your fingerprints." And that's the one thing I take pride on in myself. That, yeah, I got stories to tell of being a soldier in the war or in the battle, because I wasn't in the war. Being in the battle, but I'm still able to use my fingerprints. Most of my people can't use their fingerprints to get jobs. And if they do, it comes up, felony charges, so many misdemeanor charges that they, so I was lucky. I mean, I was lucky, and let some people who are spiritual say that's not luck, that's God watching over you. But, even when I did wrong, I always made sure it's right, because I always made sure that everybody ate. My plate wasn't that big that I couldn't share. And there were times I had to share because the food was falling off the plate. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to eat all of that. You kids, it's impossible for you to eat a whole plate of food. Like, a person don't know, you thinking a plate of food just covers the plate. No, you got a person who cover the plate and then mounts. A mount of food that can go on a plate if you do it right. You're going to sit there and eat it all while everybody else is watching you eat? No, I couldn't do that. The moment that I did it, I would never been able to finish the meal. That's sorry. That's
the deepest thing I ever heard anybody say, man. That's what's up, man.
In order to know, and this is why I'm telling people, they say, well, if the gun buyback is not working, man, what's the solution? I don't know yet, because it's a whole new generation.
Yeah, definitely.
In my generation, we could sit down. They may not have liked to sit down, but if the heads called to sit down, you sat the fuck on down.
Yeah.
No guns, no none. You sat down and you listened, and then what you took after that transpired. Then okay, then that. But these youths don't even want to sit down right now.
Nah.
You can have a sit down with a community and say, listen, you can bring your guns to the table. But I have to have a captain or chief or sergeant. I have to have somebody there to protect in case something goes wrong.
Yep.
But you can have that powwow with your guns on the table. Let's start there. Let's make them feel comfortable coming to the powwow. Bring your guns. Because sooner or later, we're going to meet without them. So let's start with that. So if you bring your gun, you're going to feel protected. Nobody's here to arrest you. Let's start there. That's a different type of buyback. Sit down with the top before you try to arrest the bottom. The top can control the, listen, I understand the violence.
Sort of like the violence interrupters, right?
Yeah.
What was this like? Release the grip, and I think there was another one.
You have to. You can't force somebody to be on your level until you learn what their level's like.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can't force that.
That's what I was talking about. Meet them where they at.
Yeah.
That whole intervention.
That's why I understood the 3 or 4 year old what you meant by that.
Yeah.
Because at that age they're able to comprehend that this is right, this is wrong. No.
Right.
To the point where you can't even let a child pick up a toy gun nowadays because that sends a message.
Every moment during that time is a teaching moment.
It's a teaching moment.
Watching TV, on the internet, sit with your kid. A
blind man is a blind man till he can see. Yeah. And it's dangerous. And I hope one day people understand, stop looking at the narrative. Pay attention to the predicate and the subject. 2 most important things to write in a book is the predicate and the subject. Forget the intro, forget the salutation and all that other stuff. Forget all of that.
You got to have the meat.
The meat, and once you get the meat, and you put that meat together, you get that story together, then everything else will come. Your head and your salutation, all that'll come.
That's a complete sandwich.
Yeah, because it's
top to bottom.
I'm watching it, and our inner city kids are watching these white kids and these urban do mass shooters in school and get no time. They say, oh, we're going to take him to the crazy house. Oh, we're going to take him here. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Oh, he's too young to serve time. So now they're getting younger and younger and younger, man. And they just popping each other crazy. It's just going off. It's just going on. I'm going to elaborate more on school shooters, but this right here just takes the cake of what we are afraid of. I know a lot of us are afraid of these youths because they're unpredictable.
That's government.
Yeah.
They're unpredictable. They don't care about your age. They don't have respect for elders.
Mm-hmm.
So
can you blame them?
No, because based on what they see, based on what they see, and there's no one to teach them. So I mean, the people that are around them are showing them they're guiding them in the wrong direction. So it's funny. It's like I mentioned this a long time ago when I was in youth group and I did a presentation. I didn't know I was behind the ears, but I did say, and that was 1989. I was 19, and I told this group that what the devil was trying to do is destroy the youth, so that there is no future. There are no adults to guide anyone, and it is up to us to spread because I was talking about the gospel. So it's up to us as young adults to spread the gospel to the young. Keep it going, because if you don't, and I use a lot of scripture from the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Bible is saying
ain't nobody teaching nobody nothing.
And now you fast forward to 2024.
Yeah,
it's happening.
And
it's been happening. It's not just this year. It's going back to like 20. I dare to say when I first in 2000. I want to say 2006. And even further, maybe the early. I'm sorry. Go back to the 90s. The early 90s. That's when pretty much everything was going downhill, because that was the time that was the peak time of gang violence. That was the peak time when it started. Like it hit an all-time high, and it stayed that way.
Are you surprised that you survived that? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. No.
Are you surprised that you survived that era?
I am.
The gangs.
I am.
Because the gangs, I try to tell people, the gangs of the 70s and the 80s. I mean the true gangs. I'm not talking about the ones who carry guns. The bats, the chains, the knives, the brass knuckles. I mean, you fought in the middle of the street, wherever you're.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That was what you're talking about, the 70s? The 70s, and the early 80s.
The early 80s, because that's what, till they changed and started using guns. And
I didn't go into the streets until like the late 80s.
So you walked right into the gun area.
Yeah, that was the time. I mean, I lived between Castle Hill and Monroe. Yeah. I mean, Monroe and Soundview, right? So that was Sex Money Murder.
You in the heart of
the Sex Money Murder was a very big gang in the Bronx.
My goodness, man!
Like dudes was burning bodies at the abandoned beach club. Yeah, they were throwing bodies in the water over there in Soundview. They were throwing dudes off the roofs in Castle Hill. There was helicopters all the time. I got shot at least 3 times. There was one time, it was a close one. I had to run. This dude was right behind me with a gun. He was pulling it out, and I just ducked into a pharmacy. A mom and pop pharmacy on Castle Hill.
You had to wait till he leave?
Well, he kept on going because he saw that I ran into the store. He already had the gun out, so he didn't want nobody he didn't come into the store and try to pop me, because I thought he was. I ran in the store, hid behind the guy behind the counter. He looked at me because I got jumped, so I had blood coming from my head and my lip, and he was like, I just told him, call the cops, man. This dude's got a gun, and he called the cops. The police came from the 4-3 and took me back to my house. I was with 3 other dudes, but one of them we got jumped by 30 people.
Why? Just in general?
Because we walked through them. It was me. It was actually 2. It was 3 of us. 2 of my boys got jumped. We were just going to the store to buy a 40. And 40s. We had a 40 each. I was high. We finished smoking at the time. That's when it used to be nickel bags. So we went, and then we walked through them. So when they saw that, they was like, "Yo, who are these dudes?" They're walking through this like like we nobody. And they were called the Boricua Posse. As soon as we came,
I heard of that. I know exactly. Oh my God!
We came once we came out the store. I already knew it. I sensed it because I sensed. When people are looking at you, and then this was on Lafayette, and it was Lafayette Avenue in Castle Hill. It's a Chase Bank.
The Chase Bank is there.
It was Chemical Bank.
It was the Chemical Bank.
And those cement
Right
could
next
sit
to
down.
the houses where you sit right there. I know exactly.
We sat
where
right
you
there. I took out the 40. We just, we had it in the bag, and we were just drinking and everything. Next thing you know it, a scooter rolled by, and as soon as it passed us, the dude just turned around and went pow, 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 pow. And I was like, so when I looked, I was high, and I was already getting intoxicated. So I looked at George. I said, yo, was that a firecracker? And he was like, yo, that was a gun. Soon as he said that, I looked up. We were surrounded. One dude hit me over the side because he took my boy's beer and he hit me over the shoulder with the beer, and it broke. I was solid at that time. I was a solid like I was playing sports, but I was also like, I got hit right in the shoulder, and then that's when one dude grabbed me. He tried to put me to the floor, and I fell. I hit my head, but I got up real fast. One dude grabbed me. I threw him into the fence. I threw another dude into the ground, hit another guy. They all started coming. I saw the two boys took off. One of them didn't make it. Well, he did make it, but he got really beat up badly. As soon as I saw it, I took off, and as I was running, the scooter was on the side. So I'm running down, and the scooter was coming close, and the guy was hitting me with. It was two dudes. The dude that was riding, and the guy in the back. He was hitting me with his helmet. So I knocked the helmet out. Then I just ran onto the sidewalk and was running down the sidewalk, and then the dude on the scooter got off, and he started running behind me, and that's when I saw him, and then he pulled out the gun, and I saw him pulling it out. I was like, oh, that's when I ran into the store.
Have you ever seen him again?
No.
See, that's the whole thing about. I tell people about the people who live in the Bronx. The story I told, I relive that story every time I see these guys. Now, we're cordial. Our kids play together. We once were enemy, but now our kids play together. Our kids know each other. It's just one of those things when you're young.
Yeah.
You're young. I don't want to call it ignorant, but you're young. You're full of stamina. You're full of vibe. You want the world to know I'm not afraid.
Right.
But at the same time, shit, man, I was terrified. You don't know if you're going to make it home. These kids nowadays don't know if they're going to make it home. They have no idea, or any type of clue what they're up against.
I'll be quite honest with you. During the 80s, I didn't think I was going to make it.
I'm trying to tell you.
I think I was going to make it until I started. Once that happened, I started thinking I was like, yo, listen, I joined a drum corps. I was a part of a drum corps. I went to youth group, Holy Cross. I left all that. Those dudes out he was hanging out with.
Well, what made you stop? Like you asked me, what made you change?
That. Because I realized.
One incident right there?
Well, it was a lot that was leading to that. There was a lot of things I saw that was happening.
That was that one thing.
That was that was
chase down in the pharmacy.
Yeah. That was the tip of the iceberg. That was the cherry on top of the sundae. Yeah, because there was times I would walk home and there are shots. I remember I was walking home and there was a shot. There was quite a few shots coming from Castle Hill, and it hit the cars next to me. I was like, oh shit! I got on the floor. Then I just went around the block and took Lacombe home.
Wow.
Oh, not Lacombe.
Laconia.
Is that Lacombe? Yeah, it's Lacombe. I took Lacombe home.
Lacombe?
Yeah, I just walked around. That was I was walking, and because you take the 39 bus on White Plains, you got to walk down.
What is that strip that's in the back of Castle Hill?
Zariga Avenue.
Is that Zariga back there? No. You go further down, all the way down to the end. Castle Hill's here. You go this way, you hit Soundview. On this end, back on this end, it used to be a big supermarket back there, almost like in Hunts Point.
Oh, Golden Mango. That's what it's called now, but I know what you're talking about.
What's the name of the street? Because they used to do the driver's test on that street.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Goodness, yeah, that was one of the most dangerous streets in the Bronx at night, man.
Oh, damn.
I can't think of the name of the street, man.
Yeah.
Behind Castle Hill, a lot of people.
That's it's still there.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh,
except it has a different name. That's called Golden Mango. You can find a lot of
largest supermarket in the Bronx that nobody knows about.
Yeah. And they sell international food.
International food. Just about. And I told people that. They be like, yo, how you know about it? I said, let's be here for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that block back there, that was one of the most dangerous blocks leading up to Castle Hill.
And Zariga. That's where you used to do the drag racing.
And there's that, yes. Yeah. I know I used to. Yeah, I drag raced for a minute. I graduated from Zariga and moved to Hunts Point and went from Hunts Point to the Sheridan.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I hit the Sheridan.
Oh, the Sheridan.
Yeah, I hit the Sheridan.
It's different now. They got traffic lights and everything. They turn it into a regular street.
Man. Yeah, I graduated. That funny you say that, man. Zariga where I started, and it's crazy because I was on Zariga. We started with an old 1988 Honda Civic. Graduated into 2 Civics, and we went from Hunts Point because we tried to get we were trying to get the 10-second cars at the time, but you know that at the time nobody really knew about NOS, but graduated from there. And the Sheridan is one of the most wildest experiences I've ever been. And every once in a while I may hit Elizabeth, New Jersey. Like a lot of people don't know that the big drags out of Elizabeth. Oh my fucking God, man! you ever saw Fast and Furious when they first start out? They all in the group ready for the big. That's what Elizabeth, New Jersey is like. Yeah.
Damn.
Beautiful, man.
That was in Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Remember that movie?
Yeah. I haven't been there in a while, but yeah, that was my hobby. That was my hobby. Whenever I got. That's what I did. I raced for a long time. That's why people don't understand. Like they be like, "Yo, why you drive so crazy?" Yo, stick shit. My pops told me how to drive stick, and man, you know when you in South Carolina and you in them back roads, man, you high shift, low shift, you gone, you gone. Running through the cornfield, and I remember one time I ran through the cornfield, hit the tree, boom, had to leave the car. Hell yeah.
Damn.
Hell yeah. Man, I had some days with my days, man.
Wow.
Always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. One day we going to get in trouble for this because we stayed too long.
Yeah, I know.
Always a pleasure, man. I always like rocking with you, man. You're one of the coolest brothers here.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. You one of the coolest brothers here. Don't you ever forget that. Don't let nobody tell you different. And if they tell you different, that's because they don't know you.
Yeah, there's so much going on in this place.
Have a good one, man. Alright, man. Later.
Burning them bridges, can't be giving my digits up to any of these random ass bitches. No, I get caught in my feelings. Let me talk my shit, cause I just made it up the pitch I was digging. Tell them how you living. Got the plug on call, put the house on slow, and I really did it all.